Hi everybody. This video was definitely done completely on impulse. I just got out of the shower and I had this idea for this video and I figured, you know what? I want to do it because it's fresh on my noggin and I have a lot to say about the topic. I should say watching so much Real Housewives of Atlanta recaps and like highlights, like the reels, like the highlight reels. And it really just got me thinking about the cultural significance of the show. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And have a glass of wine, make yourselves comfortable, and let's get into the topic. And please don't mind like my jank setup. I kind of like it because I feel like it's honest and it's cute. And it's kind of like, it's just like me throwing something together and I think it's fun. I figure if I give you guys the tea good enough, you're not going to care about that. And that's the truth. So today I really just want to talk about the cultural significance of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, specifically, but just overarching the Real Housewives franchise and just what it contributed to the world of media, specifically the world of reality TV. But first, let's meet the cast that actually introduced us to this sort of high class lifestyle.
If it doesn't make me money, I don't do it. I always knew I was destined for greatness.
I don't keep up with the Joneses. I am the Joneses.
In Atlanta, money and class do give you power. People are intimidated by my success.
So, first off, we had the fun and charismatic Lisa Wu. While her storyline more so followed her life as a wife to Ed Hartwell, who she was married to from 2005 to 2011, Lisa used her time on the show to try and establish herself as a businesswoman with her clothing line Closet Freak. She kind of served to be the preppy one of the group, but she also had this image of being married to someone wealthy, a trophy wife of sorts. She actually first rose to the public eye when she was married to the accomplished R&B singer Keith Sweat from 1992 to 2002. Lisa definitely seemed like the show's way to inject a more light-hearted approach to the show, because even when Lisa was shaded, she'd laugh about it in a somewhat nonchalant way. She didn't seem like that type of girl that was coming there to really stir up a whole bunch of beef, but she would throw her little light shade as well.
I grab it and that's it.
I love short hair.
I really like it. You gotta do something with all this stuff.
But see, I can like work it wet, dry.
I can work it wet, dry too.
She said, do something with that. I'm like, do something with that. I complimented your hair, and then you attack me? Like, that's crazy. So then I was thinking in my head, like, your hair is like a half-inch, sweetheart. Like, are you for real? Like, I know you would love to have my hair.
During an early episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta, Wu and Nene Leakes visited her parents in Inglewood, and Lisa recounted her experiences growing up biracial and how she and her family were often the targets of discriminatory comments in their neighborhood. I think this moment kind of harkens back to the moment where the Real Housewives franchise was beginning to actually take a look at race relations within the United States and how that played out in different class brackets as well. Then, oh my God, there was Desean Snow. Now, I know many of y'all who aren't as familiar with the first season may not be familiar with Snow and kind of her attributions to the Real Housewives franchise, but make no mistake, she was very integral in the show's earlier seasons. She was married to former basketball star turned coach Eric Snow. And Desean had a lot of drama both on and off the show, but during her time on the show, she used her platform to showcase her interest in charity, foundations of the sort, and do a little flexing, I should add.
The process of interviewing key staff members, an estate manager, an executive housekeeper, a maid crew, a chef, a governess, and a nanny.
Amongst all the housewives, I believe Snow flexed the most wealth. She had an estate manager accompanied with a live-in nanny and a governess. Despite all this, she ended up getting cut from the show for being, quote-unquote, too human for a circus show. So we never knew what could have come of her time on the show. So it's just really nice to like sit back and imagine and pretend what really could have happened. It's really hard to find good information on Snow. So if you're really interested in knowing more about her during her run on the show, I would recommend you watch Bingeworthy's video on Desean Snow. He talks about, sort of the Real Housewives of Atlanta cast member who got cut prematurely, potentially, and he's referring to Desean. And I think he does a great job at highlighting her time on the show, as well as emphasizing the way in which the show wanted to cast people that were going to be able to flaunt their wealth. And she's just a prime example of that. Next up, of course, we have the infamous
Close your legs to married men. You heard me?
Sway. Close your legs to married men. You heard me? Close your legs to married men. People start to ask, where's Nene? Where's Nene? And then when you walk in the room, oh, there she is.
Nene was around 41 during the very first season of Real Housewives of Atlanta, and she was, of course, married to Greg Leaks, who was a successful real estate investor. Nene and Greg had met at a strip club back when she was working to take care of her child, and it was those raw, transparent moments that she shared like that made Nene so interesting and relatable to watch to the audience. She kind of seemed more like the round-the-way girl. Even though she was still a little bit more uppity, she had this bodacious sort of personality that was very captivating to the camera. Nene was one of the show's breakout stars. She was known for her bold personality and quick-witted comebacks. She is probably the most quotable housewife to date. In season 1, she had the iconic "close your legs to married men" line, which is something that some of us may still say to this day. I think that there could honestly be a whole documentary or a case analysis on Nene Leakes alone, but that would have to be a separate video.
There's no security. Her gates don't even work. Okay? Security, it was unbelievable. It was unreal. It was wrong. It was really wrong.
Okay, this may be a very controversial opinion, but Kim Zolciak was maybe one of my favorite housewives throughout season 1. And I know, you may be thinking, how could you bypass Nene's quick-witted comebacks, or Lisa's fun, preppy personality, or even Cheray, who we'll get to later, just her utmost bouginess that she exudes. But I loved her friendship with Nene, and frankly, I love the candidness of how she was open on camera. Kim had this nature where she wasn't trying to appear a certain way for the cameras. I mean, she smoked cigarettes, drank beer, and honey, she loved Big Papa. That's right, Big Papa. It was the premiere scandal that got us hooked on the show to begin with. Kim Zolciak and her mysterious married sugar daddy.
Tell me what you love me. This is the first time I've really loved somebody as a person. Those are hot. All those are shoes? Sold! I pick out what I like and I send back what I don't. Big Papa foots the bill.
Now, I kind of mean this in like a Anna Nicole Smith sort of way, but it's very entertaining to see women sort of getting their way with men. And that's so crazy because, I mean, Kim sort of claimed that it wasn't all the financial things that Big Papa was doing that caused her to really fall for him. It was just that she really, really loved and cared for him. But it really looks like, at least based on what the show portrayed, was that she loved Big Papa's money. And this is just something that made for very, very entertaining TV. I feel like compared to the rest of the cast, Kim was okay with appearing a bit more messy, a bit more chaotic, and was unconcerned with the public's opinion of her, which is what made her so interesting to watch. Not to mention, she was kind of the only, well, not kind of, she was the only white woman on the entire cast. So I also think it's interesting that she was portrayed in that light amongst a lot of other black women who were kind of portrayed to be a little bit classier, so to speak. So yeah, that's a whole nother video as well. It would also be a whole nother deep dive to go into how Kim and Nene's friendship ended to begin with, because they were very, very close friends at the start of the season. But one thing I do want to emphasize was that a big conversation was surrounding the way Kim was perceived having a sugar daddy, opposed to the other women being tied to successful, men as well. And there was just a huge debate about that. And I think Cheray is actually the person who kind of made that distinction, specifically saying as a black woman, she's judged for dating wealthy men.
There's been a lot of speculation on the blogs about his identity.
Absolutely.
Do you think he's going to kind of come out publicly and reveal who he is?
Absolutely, he will be out publicly for sure. I mean, he's proud of me. It was, he's going through a divorce. He is very successful, and out of respect for his 4 children and his soon-to-be ex-wife, we've kept it this way.
Close your legs to married men.
Excuse me?
Close your legs to married men.
Wow,
you heard it.
Nene, is he legally married? You are absolutely right.
You heard it from me.
You're absolutely right.
Close your legs to married men.
And then there was Cheray Whitfield. Now, I feel like this may be a weird place to start, but I'm just going to start off playing this scene so you can get her vibe.
You're saying you don't go after men. I mean, are you just out of the game, or you don't approach a guy?
I don't approach guys, no. A lot of times, and this is really weird, African-American women, if you're dating men, affluent men, or men, men with money, all of a sudden they want to label you a gold digger.
That's Caucasian too, honey.
No, no,
Yes, it is.
not at
Yeah,
all.
I hear it all the
Not
time.
at all.
I feel like that scene kind of establishes who Cheray is as a character and the way we were meant to perceive her as an audience. She's very intellectual, and she was used as sort of the show's mouthpiece, and kind of expressing the thoughts of the majority of the women a lot of the times. She was kind of, the socialite of the crew, and she was navigating her life post-divorce, and yeah. Cheray was the 42-year-old woman who was navigating her life post-divorce from Bob Whitfield. Cheray is quoted saying that after her divorce, she still wants to maintain her lifestyle, specifically some 7 figures. We see Cheray venture to start her own clothing line, She by Cheray, joggers, and we see her lavish lifestyle as well. I mean, this woman has her own hairstylist, makeup artist, personal assistant, event planner, literally anything that you can think of, Cheray has. And I think it's just a means to emphasize and express the ways in which Cheray wants to be perceived, as well as the way she perceives herself. But aside from that, Cheray just had like the best little remarks that were just so quotable and interesting to watch. Like, I can't.
I think they really started off wrong. I think Tanya was offended that Nene made a comment that she needs to eat a sandwich. What happened to, hello, how are you? My name is. What happened to that?
I think the most interesting thing about Cheray is that she centralizes the show's main theme. Granted, these women are all successful, but what makes them so interesting and so poignant to watch is the relationships to men that they are tethered to. That's what makes every single one of these stories kind of come together. Everybody wants to be a baller in Atlanta. Everybody wants to be a shot caller, so on and so on. It's hard to ignore the centralized theme playing out here. And that theme is that each and every one of these women are tied to very successful men. When we see these women pursue endeavors outside of their relationship, or somewhat kind of, be flashy in regards to the things that they own or what they can spend, we as the audience know that it's either their husbands or their partners or sugar daddies in some instances that are providing the financial sort of wherewithal to upkeep these lifestyles. But I think, like, we don't care. That's what makes it so interesting. That's what makes it so fascinating. And that's what makes for such great TV, to be frank.
If I need to fall back on anybody, this is the group that I can fall back on.
According to a random Wikipedia article, the Real Housewives of Atlanta received moderately favorable reviews from critics and has been recognized as a guilty pleasure by several media outlets. However, the series has been criticized for appearing to fabricate portions of the storyline. While people did enjoy the show, and specifically this season, it wasn't all positive reviews. In Cheryl Thompson's The New Sapphire, Black Women's Portrayal on Reality Television, the book analyzes the portrayals of Black women in current reality television. Audiences are presented with a multitude of images of Black women fighting, arguing, cursing at one another in this manufactured world of reality television. This perpetuation of negative, insidious racial and gender stereotypes influences how the U.S. views Black women. I believe that all the cattiness and drama aside, viewers are fascinated with seeing how the I can never say that right, nouveau riche really truly live. The way they socialize and perform to keep up with the way society expects them to live and express themselves. It's what makes the show so salacious and enjoyable to watch in the first place. I really want to just go on to say that I think the Real Housewives of Atlanta, from a media perspective, representation perspective, and even like considering the way the show was kind of edited and the way it was kind of premiered, is something that I could imagine in like 30 years time people are going to look back on and be like, wow, this was really interesting. People were really out here living their lives like this. I've kind of been ranting on and on, but yeah, all in all, I just kind of just wanted to just touch on this real quick. It was something that was on my mind, and I thought it would be fun and funny to speak on, and hopefully you enjoyed watching. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video.